everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm going to talk about the books that I read in the latter half of April. I read 8 books in the latter half of the month, so I'm just going to talk about them fairly quickly. So Under the Pendulum Son was one of my favorite reads of the month. It is so good. It's a fantasy book about a girl who goes to the world of the Fae to follow her brother there, who has been living there for quite some time as a preacher trying to save the souls of the Fae, all this stuff. And basically this whole place is super, super weird. The sun is a lantern, and just a lot of stuff about it is just really crazy, and I loved it. So yeah, definitely a lot of twists and turns that really keep you reading. I do kind of wish that some stuff had been explained more, because I wanted to hear so much more about like some of the stuff, but overall a really, really good read that I really enjoyed. Milady Mage, I actually DNF'd about 50 pages from the end. I got so close to the end, but I just did not care enough to finish it. So this book is a fantasy romance, but with so little romance that I just didn't care anymore. So the main characters really have nothing, no romance between them at all until like 300 pages into the book. So it's basically just this very lackluster plot that makes no sense the whole time and is somewhat boring and just not as suspenseful as it could have been. And the main characters kind of go from having like no chemistry to like suddenly having sex, and it's not even like good written sex. It's just kind of meh. I Believe in a Thing Called Love was almost as disappointing, but I still kind of liked it the whole way through. So it is a kind of funny and entertaining read, but overall just not really my cup of tea. And also just the main thing that was missing for me, to be honest, was just the fact that the entire plot revolves around the main character trying to get this one guy to go out with her, and there was actually no reason for her to like that one guy. Like they didn't have any kind of friendship or relationship at all to start with. There was nothing, like no chemistry between them, so I didn't feel like I could root for her to like get this guy to like her, because I didn't care. He was just kind of an underdeveloped dude who like really had nothing to do with her to begin with. So I just didn't understand why she liked this particular dude at all, and it just made that was just so completely missing from the story that I just kind of was like, meh, I don't really care. So overall, not a bad book at all. Like there wasn't anything that I really disliked about it. It was just a little bit boring and a little bit like lackluster for me for that reason. I also finally finished The Bird King by G. Willow Wilson. I actually first read the majority of this book back in January and then just didn't read the rest until this month. So this is a really good historical fantasy that I really enjoyed. I do think that the beginning of the book was the best part, and then the end was kind of abrupt, but overall it was a good book. This Is All Your Fault by Amina Safi. This is actually a book that, unlike her other 2 books, this one's premise was not what drew me in at all. I just wanted to pick it up because I've liked her books before and I really enjoy her writing and the characters that she creates. So I knew that I had to pick this one up. So I got the review copy on NetGalley, and it comes out in October now. It was actually supposed to come out fairly soon, but now it got pushed back to October. But it is about these 3 girls who work at this indie bookstore, and it's the first day of summer. They all show up for work and they find out that the store is closing soon. So they basically have to work together to figure out what to do to save the store. They don't even like each other at all. They all pretty much just can't stand each other, but they realize throughout the course of the one day that this book takes place over that they actually have so much more in common than they actually thought they did, to the point where one of them actually is reading one of the other one's poetry online and really identifies with it and doesn't know that it's her. And as usual, as Amina Safi does so well, she creates such sassy characters that like don't care who they offend or anything. They're just trying to do what that they think is right, and then also just how much lyrical prose and intelligent references are in her writing that like really lend itself very well to the teenage voice that she tries to create in these books. Next read was Valhalla. This is a short story thing, a novella. It's only like 68 pages, so it's a little bit shorter than a novella, but basically it's about Japanese Valkyries that are queer, so it's pretty great. So anyway, basically this Valkyrie who used to be a samurai and then died and became a Valkyrie comes back to take the soul of a dying Japanese soldier to Valhalla, but this dude just does not want to die. He has other like soldiery things he wants to do and all kinds of stuff. So it basically follows them trying, like this samurai Valkyrie trying to get this other guy to accept that he needs to die a warrior's death to come to Valhalla and all of that. So it's definitely really good. It was short, but definitely I think that it has a lot to it for such a short story, for sure. Wild Savage Stars, the sequel to Sweet Black Waves. I actually liked this one a lot better than the first one. I think that it dealt a lot more with how society tries to control women, and it has a friendship breakup in it, and all this other stuff that just makes for a really good story. This is a retelling of Tristan and Isolde from the point of view of Branwen. So this is a really interesting story. I thought that it was also very well researched. This series is very well researched in general. And finally, A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World. This is a post-apocalyptic story about a kid who basically just goes journeying across this post-apocalyptic wasteland to get his dog back from a dude who took her. So it is such a good book. It's really well thought out. It has a lot of very well thought out details, like the fact that he's seen pictures of, say, crowds of people, but he doesn't know what that would sound like or smell like. He just knows what it looks like from pictures. So yeah, it's definitely really interesting. And then he also comes across a French-speaking character who like doesn't speak English while he's like journeying around and traveling, and he ends up having to speak to her and figure out, they kind of have to understand each other even though they don't speak the same language. And whenever the French dialogue comes into play, it's sounded out like phonetically the way that the main character would actually be understanding it. So even though I speak like a little bit of like beginning French, I had no gosh darn clue. I had to really think about it, because so it's basically like it's by making it spelled like it's sounded out, it's kind of making the reader have to have also no clue, just like the main character, what this other character is saying, all of that. So I just thought that was really interesting. So there's a lot to this book that I really, really enjoyed, and I definitely recommend it. So those are all of the books that I read in the latter half of April. I have been reading a lot of ebooks because I'm just sitting at home anyway. So, because I don't really take an e-reader anywhere with me unless I'm on an airplane or something crazy like that. Like typically if I'm going out and about anywhere, I take physical books with me, and I only read ebooks at home. So since I'm at home, I'm just like reading a whole bunch of ebooks. But anyway, if you've read any of these books, have any thoughts on them, let me know what you thought, and let me know what your favorite read of the month is, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!